and welcome or welcome back. My name is V, and today we're gonna watch another video that's gonna make everyone sad. Maybe. I found this on my feed this morning, decided to watch it. This is a video by Rotten on YouTube, and the video is titled I Miss When WoW Was Just a Game. Now, I have not seen this video, don't know what it's about, but I've recently been having these very similar, presumably, feelings about World of Warcraft, especially since I continued to go through my second playthrough of WoW, and this time a very detailed one. Just for context, I'm playing through original World of Warcraft and Burning Crusade, where we're currently at, with Neon, my partner, and we're pretty much going through all of the quests. We are twinged and we are exploring all of the zones as they were, at some point, right? And we're not leveling, we're just trying to basically piece the story together, and it feels like an escape from modern WoW, from, what it is, from all these new systems and everything. It's just a very simple and easy thing to do, and it makes me see these differences between the old WoW and the modern WoW very clearly. So I want to take a look at this video and just kind of see what they have to say about, presumably how World of Warcraft feels nowadays. If you happen to be new here, do make sure to subscribe, leave a like on the video, and let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Also, do make sure to watch the original video, subscribe to it as well, to Rotten's channel, and without further ado, let's watch.
I miss when World of Warcraft was just a game to me. In fact, I missed when most games were just games. I was reminded of this last night while playing Quest 64, an old Nintendo 64 game. There's barely any direction, there's no objectives, and there's a ton of rooms and corridors and hallways that just lead nowhere. It annoyed me at first. I would say stuff like, why would the developers put that there if it has no purpose? Or I'd say something like, that's bad game design. But then I did some reflection. There was a day before good game design, when games weren't designed to keep you engaged, or keep your dopamine levels high, or give you constant breadcrumb rewards. There was a day when they were just games, to play without purpose just for fun, almost like playing pretend when you were a kid. So why did the developers put that empty hallway there? Well, because someone may just want to explore around for fun. How about that? Playing a game for the fun of it. I used to feel the same way about World of Warcraft. Nowadays, I care about item levels, I care about rating, I care about new content and the best talent builds and the top classes and the top specs and the next patch and the buffs and the nerfs. And even Blizzard seems to have adapted to this style of thinking, making every new zone and raid high octane and high priority in the storyline. There's no time anymore to just relax and play, but it wasn't always like this. When I first started playing World of Warcraft in 2006, I was a dwarf warrior and I had no clue what I was doing. But I didn't know one thing. This is what I'm doing right now. I loved being engrossed in the world. I would go into every building in Ironforge just to look around and think how cool it might be to just hang out here with friends and talk. Not questing, not leveling, not gearing, just hanging out in a cool secluded place in Ironforge talking about life. Same thing for this random building in Orgrimmar. I barely made it to level 20 on that first character, but I probably explored most of the entire world map, and I can still remember the awe I felt when I accidentally stumbled into the burning steppes by walking through the broken gate in the north of Red Ridge Mountains, and suddenly I arrived in Fire and Brimstone. Seeing the blackened, smoky sky and the lava pouring from the mountains was amazing, and seeing the creatures and dragons that roamed the
This is exactly what I was expecting this video to be, and the more and more he talks about it, the more I'm starting to realize, I guess this is a very selfish or arrogant thing to say, but I think right now I'm playing World of Warcraft the right way, at least on my, the second character, which is that one. My main is still in the current content, and I'm done with the current stuff. But there is something really magical about playing World of Warcraft the way it used to be. It almost feels like an escape. as no one really quests through these zones anymore. But some of these super unique quests, like delivering something to an NPC, and then the NPC who, for example, is a goblin, tinkers around, accidentally dies from it or something, and then another NPC comes over, revives him, and then you continue the quest. Things like that, they aren't a thing anymore, and there is something really special about that experience. And watching this video makes me more convinced that I am now playing World of Warcraft as a game, and I really enjoy that.
The land made me excited to eventually come back and quest here, which I never did. Oops. But I do still remember that feeling, the wonder and the awe at every zone and every turn. And now I'm so familiar with every zone that I gotta admit I'm pretty killer at WoW GeoGuessr. So that begs the question, is this just a nostalgia thing? And I don't think so, as Classic WoW and Season of Discovery in particular still have their moments of invoking wonder in me more so than modern WoW. And I think what it comes down to is the idea of a game being just that, a game. The process of not needing to follow an ideology of good game design, or retention practices, or meaningful progression systems, or balance. In the many empty buildings in each capital city, I feel the echoes of players and guilds that came before and probably hung out within their walls chatting in-game rather than using something like Discord to do voice chat. And even beyond the capital cities, there are empty vistas in areas of the game that some may consider useless or poorly designed that were really just there to add flavor for those who wanted it. And even endgame raids in Classic WoW like Molten Core didn't feel as immediately pressing to complete as soon as you could. I mean, there wasn't always a world-ending catastrophe just on the other side if you didn't hurry up and progress through the raid. In modern WoW, there is a greater emphasis on the critical path and on progression for the sake of story, and in a sense, I get it. You have to keep the players engaged, you have to keep the stakeholders happy, and you need to constantly have high stakes. Unfortunately, Blizzard already crossed the border of highest stakes of all time with the Shadowlands expansion and the universe-ending Jailer. I mean, how can you create another engaging story without putting the universe at stake again? But that's just the point for me. I don't want another universe-ending, world-ending, or even continent-ending storyline. I want a lived-in world with smaller, more meaningful bite-sized.
This is just what I was talking to Neon about while we were questing. Some of these quests, actually a lot of them, you might forget about within a few days, but in that moment when you're doing them, you feel like you're actually helping someone, whether it is fixing a little robot and then escorting it to this other person who now can continue to, I don't know, distribute the goods with the robot because you helped it, or because you helped someone, destroy their little enemies so that, their business can thrive or whatever. Like each one of these quests that I've been doing in the Burning Crusade lately and in the Vanilla WoW as well, they feel like you're actually important, but you're not this champion or mall walker or whatever. You're just a person who just found themselves there, and it just feels nice to kind of, do a quest and feel like you've helped someone. It just hits different.
Stories that are fun to explore. I don't want a fresh new continent where it feels like nobody's ever been there before. I want to feel as if I'm part of the world again, not the champion of Azeroth. I want to walk around and explore the corners of each zone and building, not for a reward or a secret, but for the fun of it. But the gaming landscape has changed. We don't need to talk using in-game chat anymore. Discord has a great interface, a bunch of communities, and it's easier than ever to voice chat with your friends.
It makes you wonder whether players would have migrated from in-game chatting or whatever if they had introduced something like that in the games earlier, because there's a chance that if there was voice chat and if the chat looked better, if it was easier to use and whatnot, that people would have just stuck in there. And it makes you wonder how many more communities would still be using that particular voice chat over Discord or whatever if it was just there on time time. I feel like it was a big missed opportunity, and this is the consequence.
Back in the day, having a TeamSpeak or Vent server was a big deal, and having good enough internet to run that at the same time as playing World of Warcraft was an even bigger deal. Stereotypically nowadays, gamers are painted as these nitro-fueled, energy drink chugging, RGB lighting enthralled adult children, and to pander to that stereotype, we need flashy games that pack a punch, and better pack one quick before your captive audience chooses one of a million other games promising the same thing. But there's another catch: they're all promising the same thing. How awesome would it be to finally have a World of Warcraft expansion or experience with a slower pace, a chiller vibe, and some good old fun exploration? And no, I'm not talking about the cozy game genre, which, side note, it's probably growing fast because more people are wanting that type of vibe, but I don't want WoW to be a farming sim or an idle game. I would want the upcoming WoW expansions to feel like classic WoW and Season of Discovery in their pacing. Slowed down, less high stakes, less flashy lights, less progression systems with more corners to explore, whether they're empty or not. I don't have a proposed solution, and I'm not saying by any means I hate World of Warcraft now or that I'm quitting retail. No, none.
We live lives that are so fast-paced that honestly we are all just wanting to stop and reflect and just rest a little bit from all this high pace. I watched a somewhat unrelated video recently that talked about all these people who take paid or unpaid leaves to just stay at home and have their vacation there. And I think it's called like bed rot or something. And I think the problem is not just within games, but in the lifestyle in general. People are so tired of quickly going from one thing to the next, from one game to the next, from one activity to the next, that we just want to stop and sometimes just feel that relief of just taking it easy. And I think that applies to World of Warcraft as well.
Of that. I just wanted to throw my hat and my feelings into the ring, and I'm sure some of you out there would feel the same. I still like to just sit on the cliffs of Thunderbluff and look out on Mulgore. I still like to hear the music of Elwynn Forest and Stormwind as I'm strolling through. And sometimes, even as a heroic raider in Dragonflight, I still like to RP walk. And I hope that I'm not alone in saying I miss when games were games and we would play just for fun. Thanks for watching and take care.
This is a good video. It's very wholesome. It speaks from the heart, and I think a lot of people will resonate with it. I really do hope you enjoyed it, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it as well. Do make sure to subscribe to his channel also. I'll link the video down in the description. Honestly, I love these kinds of videos. This video is not made to I don't know, attention grab or to gaslight people or to, I don't know, create these toxic discussions. It was made by someone who is really nostalgic for what WoW used to be and who just wants to go back to how things were, not necessarily in the past, but just to have that same vibe again where they are not rushed into doing this or that. And I think at some point our generation who grew up like this and who was pushed into this crazy fast-paced world, at some point we have to take matters into our own hands and say we're just not going to do things this way. You know, we're just going to take things slow and we're going to do things the way we want them. And I think that this video is a step in a good direction as feedback to the devs as well, and I do hope that it gets listened to. So I'm glad that I watched it, and thanks to me watching it, now you're watching it as well, and we get to all, you know, at least think about it and be the voice, if anything, of the community. I do think that something like the housing will be a very good idea for World of Warcraft, and I'm very, very excited to explore that as well. I don't know if it'll help bring this kind of vibe or if it'll, you know, do the opposite. Hopefully not, but I'm excited for that as well. Thank you for watching this video and the other video as well. Let me know your thoughts. Subscribe if you're new, leave a like, and I'll see you next time. Take care and bye-bye.